I will explain a little bit about this ion test, and then we will straight away do the questions. You see, the questions are prepared this way, which is even if you doesn't have the notes, also you can do the answer one, because you just need a blank paper and then you write the formula and then the test. So before I start this, let me go through a little bit about Form 4 Chapter 8. I think most of you don't really know how to do this Form 4 Chapter 8, right? Since your Form 4, you skip until now. Now got time, got holiday to study, still no study, right? Form 4 Chapter 8, salts. Salts are consist of 5 different parts. We will do this chapter next week, don't worry. But this week I choose to do something harder first. So Form 4 Chapter 8, salt. Okay, we have these 5 major parts. What are they? Not next week, sorry. I mean next time, okay, next class. Solubility. If you're about to study this chapter, revise it yourself. Let me tell you the important parts. The solubility, the color of the salt. Are you able to tell whether a salt is soluble or insoluble by looking at the name of the salt? Okay. Are you able to tell the color of the salt? When you look at the name, are you able to tell the color? So these are the things that you have to study. It's very important. This chapter is very, very, very important. And then what else? Heating, or they call it as decomposition of salt. Okay? When a salt is being heated, what are going to produce? And then we also have the preparation of salt, which is how to make a salt, or they will want you to write an essay. They want you to write an essay, which is how to make the salt, or the procedure. Remember what came out in your exam. And then lastly will be what I want to focus today, the ion test. Because as what I remember, when I do revision for salt in extra class or in the normal class, I always doesn't have the chance to do the ion test in details with you all. We always do solubility, color, heating, then stop already, no more time. So this time I do from the back, we do ion test. Okay, so trust me, if you listen, if you pay attention, after like 10 minutes, you sure can write out the answer one. So how to do ion test? This is the topic today. We got a few essay to write today. Because usually ion test come out in essay or structure. I could put structure also. Later I show you. So ion test. Don't copy first. Later I will give you a chance to copy this one. So listen first. Ion test got 2 different types of ion, mainly cation, anion. Cation is positive ion, anion is negative ion. I will start today's lesson by explaining the anion test first. So which is the test to find out negative ion. So before I go through this, let me tell you what kind of question they will ask you under this ion test. Your favorite example, NaCl. In whatever question, a structure or as well as an essay question, you will always be given some salt, right? And then they will ask you, okay, a boy or a girl, I want you to tell me, you have to tell uncle a test. You have to tell uncle a test to prove the presence of Cl minus ion. This is what they will tell you. It's like they want a specific ion. The meaning of ion test is like, let's say you imagine it as a COVID test. You want to know, I want to know whether my body inside got the virus or not. So I go do the test and then see got negative or positive, means present or not present. So this one also the same. Now uncle want to find out whether my bottle has Cl negative ion inside or not. So you, as the smart kids, you have to do this test. So that's the meaning of ion test. Your job is to write out the whole procedure, how you do it, so that uncle can follow and do at home. That is your work. So before you're able to do that, please let uncle to teach you how to do first. Don't copy. There's nothing important here. Whenever there's something important, I will give you time to screenshot or copy. Don't worry. Listen, don't play your phone. For negative ion test, 4 ion only. 4 ion only. Which 4 ion? Okay, let me write it down. No need to copy. No need to copy. Carbonate, chloride, sulfate, and nitrate. 4 ion. But I divide it into 3 different levels. Three different levels. 3 different levels. Level 1, level 2, level 3. So what does the meaning of level 1, level 2, level 3? Level 1 means you only need one step. Step 1, done. But chloride and sulfate in level 2, you need step 2. 2 steps, sorry. Step 1, step 2. Then obviously level 3, you need step 1, step 2, step 3. Yes, Darian, sure. Yes, no problem. Can. Okay, level 1, level 2, level 3. What are all these step 1, step 2, step 3? So remember, for step 1, now you have to put this into your brain, not copy. Step 1, add acid. Step 1 is always adding acid. So that means in the step 1 here, to test a carbonate ion, I add acid. What kind of acid? Which acid? My favorite is always nitric acid. Here you can add any acid. You can add any acid, but my favorite is nitric acid. Later, I will let you know why. Of course, you can also change it to hydrochloric. You can change it to sulfuric acid. Can, but I always stick back to nitric acid. For chloride and sulfate, same. I add nitric acid. Nitrate is different. Nitrate, you can only use sulfuric acid. This is something you have to memorize, but I believe you never memorized since when you first learned this chapter. Okay, carbonate. See, we go to the question. We go to the question. We will do one by one. When we talk about level 1, we do level 1 question. Level 2, we do level 2 question. Level 3, we do level 3 question. No need to copy, no need to copy, because you write everything into your book later. Okay, now we go to page number 2. If it doesn't have the notes, never mind. Then you just write calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate. Now, I want to do a test, ion test. I want to test, let's say, I want to test the negative ion. So which means I want a carbonate ion test. The question asks me, describe an anion test for the salt given on the top. Okay, so carbonate ion test, CO3 2-. Level 1, so 1 step only. So my step 1 or point 1 will be just add. This one you have to write down. Add 2 cm³ of nitric acid into a test tube containing calcium carbonate. One step, add acid 2 to 5 cm cube, up to you. Test tube, the size of test tube 2 to 5. So add 2 cm cube of nitric acid into a test tube containing calcium carbonate. Done. One step only. After one step, you should give me the observation already. So what will be the observation? When you add acid into calcium carbonate, this is what you can do in the exam. If I add acid into the calcium carbonate, what happened? I write the equation out. Okay, I write the equation out. HNO3 plus CaCO3. What is going to form? What is going to form? CaNO32 plus H2O and CO2. Can you see? CO2 is the product that proves the presence of carbonate ion. That means only when your salt has carbonate, it is able to produce carbon dioxide. If your salt doesn't have carbonate, for example, CaCl2, can it form carbon dioxide? Cannot. So what I have to tell in my observation is, colorless gas release turn lime water cloudy. So that means when I do the test, I add the acid, it produces a gas that will turn my lime water cloudy. And of course, if this thing have to add ed, you add ed lah. This kind of grammar mistake, you can you settle yourself lah. Okay. My English is very noob one. Okay, very noob. Okay, my primary school level. This is okay. So colorless gas release turn lime water cloudy. I never get A since after my my standard 6. Standard 6 I got A. I got straight A, and then PMR no A, and then SPM no A. Does grammar affect the answer? Obviously no. If grammar will affect the answer, I cannot get A anymore. The answer is no, they don't care one. Turn, or ED or what? Never mind. So that's the answer lah. Just like that for the carbonate ion test. So remember, so all the ion we write one times. So carbonate done. Okay, this one no need to copy. So step 1 is always adding acid. Same sentence for everything. Step 2. Step 2 is adding a salt solution. So that means I write here, step 1 add acid, step 2 add a salt solution. A salt solution that will make chloride and sulfate to become insoluble. Just in case you all do know about this, let me mention it again. For the solubility of salt, I think if you are my students since Form 4, then you will know this. Chloride and sulfate. Chloride, we always call it as what? Roti canai. C stands for canai. Roti canai. Roti canai is always soluble. Always soluble, except what? Persatuan Agama Hindu. When roti canai pair with PBAGHG, Persatuan Agama Hindu, it will become insoluble. S, we call it a siu bao. You want to know what is siu bao? You can Google this thing, then you will see the siu bao. Siu bao will become insoluble when it pair with Persatuan Bahasa Cina. Persatuan Bahasa Cina. Roti canai Persatuan Agama Hindu, siu bao Persatuan Bahasa Cina. So the salt that I will be adding to test Cl is the Ag. I will be using Ag to test Cl. Why I don't want to use Pb? Because if I use Pb, you see, Cl and SO4 will also have changes. That means your result is not accurate. It is like I want to test whether you are a girl or boy, which is a male or female. Then I say, okay, got two eyes. Wait, guys and girls also got two eyes. So it means when you do this test, when you use PB, both get positive. Not accurate. So I have to use something that only the guys have, or something that girl has. Okay, like long hair lah, short hair lah, like that lah. So Ag to test chloride, barium to test sulfate. So let's see how I do it. How I add the salt solution. Just mix sentence only. You see, okay. Which one? Okay lah, page. Okay, this one lah. Whatever. Ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride, let's say. Now I want to test the negative ion. Chloride. If you want the video after this, you can always get it from me. I can send you the video so you can copy something, or you want to watch many times also can. So chloride ion test. The Cl minus ion. So I have step 1 and step 2. So what do I do in my first step? I add 2 cm cube of dilute, without the word dilute also can, same thing. Nitric acid, we add 2 cm cube of nitric acid into a test tube containing ammonium chloride salt. Can you see it's exactly the same? The first step is exactly the same. Add nitric acid. Same. Step 2, change the sentence a bit. Add 2 cm cube of chloride. Chloride. Persatuan Agama Hindu. Agama Ag. So 2 cm cube of silver nitrate. So here you will start to realize everything I use is nitrate, nitrate, nitrate. Because when you use nitrate, everything is soluble. You cannot use anything that is insoluble. Let's say you simply temper silver carbonate, silver chloride, and then die. Whatever test, when they want you to suggest a solution like electrolysis, always go for nitrate. Sure, correct one. Because it's always soluble. So I would say add 2 cm cube of silver nitrate solution into the test tube or into the mixture, also can. Into the test tube or into the mixture, also can. 2 steps, finish. Then what will be my result? Result as my third point. As I said, roti canai and agama paired together will become insoluble. This is what you can do also, like what I said just now. When you do know what is the observation, write the equation out. Ammonium chloride. Oh, what if you do know how to write ammonium chloride? I cry. Okay, AgNO3. Chemistry student should know how to write formula one, right? So it forms NH4NO3 and AgCl. If your basic of salt is not very bad, then you should be able to tell AgCl is insoluble. What is the color of AgCl? Let me ask you all these questions. What is the color of AgCl? Luckily, okay, you all know. You all know or not? Come lah, give me answer lah. If you do know, means you know what to study in these 2 weeks. Don't know? then you know what to study. No? You have to study the color. Yes, the answer is white. Ma. Very good. If it is white, and also it is insoluble, so what do we call it? A white precipitate is formed. White precipitate is formed. That's all. This is my answer. Add acid, a salt solution that make it insoluble. Insoluble, I call it as white precipitate. Instead of solid, we will say white precipitate is formed. Not pharma, it's formed. Just like that. Okay or not? Can? Very easy. Now we try sulfate. Not we try. You have to try it on sulfate. Acid, salt, result. Level 2, of course, the result will be the same. So now let's say we try on lead 2 sulfate as the third example. Lead 2 sulfate. Okay. Okay, sulfate ion test. Come, write your answer. Don't refer back. Don't refer back. Try yourself. Step 1, what is that? Step 2, result. Try. I give you 2 minutes this one. 2 minutes. So step 1, always add acid. Nitric acid safe. Into the test tube containing something, whatever, salt is that. So, and then you add a salt solution that will make sulfate to be insoluble. Sulfate is 硝钋. 硝钋. Persatuan Bahasa Cina. By the way, Cina, we take C and A, not CU. So Persatuan Bahasa Cina. So we use the BA. So that means BA is what? Barium. Then my second point, I just say barium. Stick back to nitrate. You see, just one word different only. Barium, silver, exchange. Same answer. Finish already. Okay. So level 1, level 2 settle. Level 1, level 2 settle. Settle already. Okay. So let me go back and fill up my short notes. So that later I can let you take a screenshot or something. So the result is colorless gas bubbles turns lime water cloudy. And then the result here is white precipitate form. Finish level 1, level 2. Can 以前可以，刚才讲了可以的是，哎呦 Okay, number 3. Okay, number 3. This is the most important one. The most important one. Because it is the hardest one. That's why exam always ask you. Yes, 硝钋 is memang haram. Okay, Persatuan Bahasa Cina masih haram. Okay, so nitrate. This is the one that always asked in exam. So, step 2 and step 3, what are there? So actually, step 2 is also the same, adding a salt solution. Is adding a salt solution. By the way, can I ask you all a question first? Do you know what is the result of testing nitrate ion? After you do a lot of things, then you got a result. The result is what? Yes, very good. Brown ring is formed. Yes, a brown ring is formed. So this brown ring comes from where? White precipitate comes from the silver chloride and also barium sulfate just now. So that means it's like the salt solution that you add is going to end with this outcome. A brown ring is formed. So the brown ring is actually an ion. A brown circle, of course, wrong lah. Of course, wrong lah. If you write brown circle, okay. So the salt solution here we will be adding is iron 2 sulfate, FeSO4. Everything in nitrate is specific, very specific. That's why they like to come out this one. Okay, bye-bye. Last one. The last step here is add concentrated sulfuric acid. That's all. Sulfuric acid, iron 2 sulfate, concentrated sulfuric acid. It's like everything sulfate, sulfate, sulfate. Step 1, step 2, everything nitrate. These 3, sulfate. Must be sulfate. If it doesn't have the sulfate ion, then the brown ring cannot form. We try to write. Okay, now I write down my step 3. Step 3 is add concentrated acid. Okay, so we try a question. They always ask you one. Where? Okay, zinc nitrate. We try with zinc nitrate. Yes, you will add twice the sulfuric acid. One is a dilute, another is concentrated. So to test nitrate ion, so basically today's lesson, I give you a sample of answer. And then you just have to keep on practicing yourself, okay? Because you always complain, I don't know what to write, I don't know how to write. I write already always wrong. That's why now I give a proper answer, then you learn it. So step 1, what is that? Add acid. My mom also can remember already. So add 2 cm cube of dilute sulfuric acid into, you see, also you can memorize, right, into a test tube containing toluene. Containing zinc nitrate. What do we do next? We add a salt solution. And this is add 2 cm cube of iron 2 sulfate solution. Okay. Add 2 cm of iron 2 sulfate solution into the mixture or into the test tube, same thing. Into the mixture, add it into the test tube is the same thing, and shake or shaken and shake, okay, and shake. Or you can write, and the test tube is shaken. Then like that, okay. So you add acid, you add iron 2 sulfate, shake, shake. Step 3, be careful. Step 3, you have to add a few drops of concentrated sulfuric acid along the wall of the slanted test tube. That means you can't just add it directly into the salt solution. You have to have a slanted test tube like this, and then you add the concentrated sulfuric acid so that they will not mix and they form tilt and slanted is the same thing. Without shaking, actually no need. If you worry that your answer is wrong, then you write without shaking. But in exam, no need to write no shaking on. Okay, just like that. Add a few drops of concentrated sulfuric acid along the wall of a standard test tube. Plus, result, a brown ring is formed. Finish. Just like that. So always remember, got 3 levels. Start from carbonate, chloride sulfate, nitrate. Add acid, first step. Add salt, second step. Third step, concentrated acid. Let us try one exam essay question. Yeah, now I think you all should have a picture of this thing already. Step 1, step 2, 2 steps, 3 steps. Brown ring, brown ring block, colors, gas bubble, white precipitate, brown ring. Add acid, salt solution, concentrated acid. Okay, let's try. I think you all doesn't have the paper, right? Okay, never mind, we read the question here together. 2 reagent bottles. What were you saying about the slanted test tube? I know need I just write slanted test tube. Okay, so 2, we don't want the solution to mix together. Only when they doesn't mix, you can see a brown ring. Brown ring is like a brown layer in the middle. If you shake already, then the whole thing boom, missing. You want everything concentrate in the middle layer brown color like that. If you shake, then the brown will missing. Because it gets diluted by the solution around it, so the brown will be like not visible. So 2 reagent bottles containing colorless solution. So they told you that, oh, I got 2 bottles. Bottle A and B. Let's say I write myself A and B. The label on the bottle will remove. The label on the bottle will remove. Each bottle contains whether sodium chloride solution or sodium sulfate solution. Describe a chemical test that can be verify the solution in the test tube. Okay, first, we look at these 2 bottles. They might be sodium chloride, they might be sodium sulfate. So the similarity is they both are sodium. So that means you are not going to test the sodium, because if you carry out a sodium test, then the both will show a result positive. Cannot. So the difference here, one got Cl, another got SO4. So that means we have to do a test to differentiate chloride and sulfate. Basically, the anion test. Okay, not anion test. When you see this, I've described a test. Usually will be to differentiate solution. Usually will be salt solution, which is anion or cation test. Okay, Can you all do this question? 6 marks. Can you all do this question? 6 marks. So now imagine Uncle remove the label already. Now uncle is confused. Uncle, do you know this is sodium chloride or this is sodium sulfate? Hiya. So what should I do there? I have to do test. So step one, okay, point one. By the way, for essay, right, when they say 6 marks, you can, if you write longer a bit, also can, right? Whatever answer, structure you write longer than the marks required also can. As long as you are writing the correct thing, they won't minus your mark one. It is like, let's say your point one, you say, open up the bottle of the 2 solution. Never mind one, they won't minus your mark one. It's correct step. So let's say step one. So what do? I do know which one is chloride, which one is sulfate now. I test either one. I test either one. I test either one. I test, let's say I test chloride. Because if chloride shows a result here, then that means this one must be sulfate. If this one is chloride, then that means B is sulfate. So I find one to test, up to you. So this is what I do now. So I will add 2 cm cube of each solution into 2 different test tube. So usually essay required to write something like this, which is something very specific. You cannot just add the substance into the solution. You have to pour it out into a test tube. So we add it into 2 test tubes. Let me just draw it out to show you so that look at the column here. Okay, so So this is a test tube that containing solution from bottle A, and this one is from bottle B. Even if you write with labeling A and B, 1 and 2 also can, as long as you are able to tell they have been added into 2 different test tubes. So next, you will start to do the test. Add acid. So 2 cm cube of nitric acid into each test tube. Easy. So everything HNO3, HNO3. And then what is the next step? After I add acid, the next thing I'm going to do is I will add, let's say, up to you, you want the chloride first or sulfate first. Let's say I want, I ask you all, what do you want to test? What do you want to add? Add 2 cm cube of what? Something nitrate. What nitrate? What nitrate you want to use? Faster lah, come lah. Okay, silver. Okay, silver. So I add 2 cm cube of silver nitrate into each test tube. So that means I add AgNO3, AgNO3. Any other steps? No, right? No. Then what happens? The result will come out. The test tube that forms or produce white precipitate whichever test tube produce white precipitate indicate the presence of Silver is added to test. Chloride ions. You can also add another sentence if you want, which is, therefore, the solution will be sodium chloride. If you want to add that sentence, also can. I just want to tell you that as long as you are telling the correct thing, there is no way they can minus your mark. Okay, I just write it in. Let's say I don't know. Okay, I'm very scared they don't give me mark. Therefore, the solution, which in the exam I don't do this. Okay, therefore the solution is sodium chloride solution. So let's say I got two test tubes. This one form white precipitate. Then this one will be sodium chloride. This one will be sodium chloride. Another one, that means it will be a sodium sulfate solution. No? Okay. Okay, can so these 4 points. Now I'm going to continue. Don't just stop here because you only done the chloride one. Now you have to write the sulfate one, which is the same thing. This time add 2 cm³ of another solution into a test tube. So I know that A, let's say I already know this is NaCl. So now what I do, I add this another solution which is from bottle B into another test tube. You cannot continue. Why I have to write this again? Because this question is 6 marks. 6 marks. So it should be given 3-3. Okay, it should be given 3-3. If you can think of it yourself. If you are the teacher, how I can give 6 marks for answer like this? Then another one will be sulfate. Don't even have 6 points, only got 5. So it's better to write another one. So 2 cm³ of another solution is added into another test tube. And then what we do? We add 2 cm³ of nitric acid into the test tube. After that, add 2 cm³ of barium nitrate solution into the test tube. Finally, white precipitate is formed, indicate the presence of sulfate ions, and therefore the solution is Na2SO4, sodium sulfate. Just like that. To be honest, we will always, what if I'm writing this answer in the exam, I will always combine this as 1 point in one sentence. But let's say I assume that you are a beginner, so I let you do sentence by sentence, will be easier. So just like that, confirm this one, confirm 6 marks. If this question is 8 marks, also you can get 8 marks. Sure, confirm. If you are able to write answer like this, a very confident answer, don't worry, you sure can get the marks on 6 marks. Okay, if you just write half just now, maybe you can't get full marks. But doing this, you should get a full marks. Can So now, I hope you understand the anion test already. Anion test already, just like that. See whether I have another question or not. Okay. So this question is almost the same, like you can see. One bottle contains zinc chloride. Another contains zinc sulfate. Describe a chemical test that can be used to identify cation and anion in each solution. So the anion part is exactly the same. It's exactly the same. How do we test the zinc ion? Okay. How do we test the zinc ion? How do we test the positive ion? I believe my student can still remember the cation ion test quite well, right? We have finished the anion test. Cation ion test is mainly made up of what? Our ZAPCM. Remember, right? ZAPCM. For those who are first time learning this thing, so please look carefully. I'm giving you a shortcut to construct a table. The table tells you what chemical to add and then what is the result that is going to show. So this is what we call ZAPCM. So what is ZAPCM? ZAPCM is ZNALPB, CA, and Mg. Because they always, most of the time, they shows colorless. It doesn't have color in a solution. When they dissolve in water, it's colorless. So that's why they are the most confusing one. How to construct the table? First, we separate ZAP and CM. Now you see how I do. So I separate ZAPCM into half. What I will do next is I will put a tick on the left and a cross on the right. Done. Second row. Now we only look at the left-hand side. We don't care about the right-hand side. So in the left-hand side, I have Z, I have A, I have P now. I have to cut them out one by one. So I cut the Z and AP away from each other. Tick and cross. Can you see? Every time when I draw a straight line, I will put a cross and a tick. So now, the right-hand side, same thing. I separate C and M, tick, cross. Lastly, what haven't been separated? A and P, tick, cross. What is this? Okay, let us fill up the observation. The observation is W, 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 W. 4W followed by N, NW, and Y, which we call it as Norway, New York. P, 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 P. This is the TTC method. Outside this is like we created ourselves one. So whoever are using this one is from TTC. If other people is using means you know lah. Okay. So ZAPCM. From here, I can already see, oh, observation, WP means white precipitate. Thick is dissolved. Later, I will show you how to write my answer. Most of the people, they can remember this one, but they can't remember what is on the left-hand side. So what is on the left-hand side? I construct again. Z, A, P, C, M. Z and AP, tick cross. Okay, not Z and Z, AP and CM tick cross. Z and AP, tick cross. C and M, tick cross. A and P, finally, tick cross. Like go to the website lah, www, one more W. Norway, New York. Y means yellow precipitate. Okay, after this, what are the three chemicals that we have to add on the left-hand side? If you can understand Mandarin, then you can memorize it more easily. Or you have some Chinese friend who always say hums up, hums up, hums up. Then yes, N means no precipitate. If you know what is hums up, then you should be able to do the one on the left-hand side. On the top is zap, ZAP zap. Yes, even Putra also know what is hums up. Zap is a pickup. Zap is actually Cantonese, not even Mandarin. Okay. Here is sub, SAP. Zap and the sub. You can remember it like this. So just now, N ion test, we all use acid, right? Now we use alkaline solution. So S is actually sodium hydroxide. A is ammonium hydroxide. P is potassium, but this is potassium iodide. It is potassium iodide. Excess, finish. The excess is aligned with the tick and cross one. Align with the tick and cross. Never mind. Now I show you how I do the test. I want to answer this question now. How to prove the presence of zinc. So which one is zinc? This is zinc. Zinc, you go down to the lowest, must go down to the lowest. You can't stop here because if you get this result, it can be ZnAlPb. So I will always go down to the lowest. That means this one. I have to add ammonia solution, and then I will be getting WP and tick. So what do I do? So first, now it's zinc ion test. So I will add 2 cm cube of sulfate solution, referring to the top lah, zinc sulfate solution into a test tube. And then what do I have to add? Here NH4OH, you can call it as ammonium hydroxide. Also, you can call it as ammonia solution. So I will add a little ammonia solution or ammonium hydroxide solution until excess. That means I just follow the table. I add a little. That means I add a little bit by a little bit. You can also write like that. I add a little by a little bit. Also can. What I remember, add a bit by bit also got this kind of answer one. As long as you are able to mention, you add slowly until excess. That means a lot. What am I going to see next? WP and tick. Okay, I add this into the solution. My result is WP is white precipitate. So white precipitate is formed. WP law. What is thick? Thick means dissolve. And then dissolve in excess ammonia solution. I add white precipitate. I add ammonia solution until excess, and then I get white precipitate. First, that means I see some white precipitate when I add a little bit. When I add more, they dissolved in excess ammonia solution. That is the answer. So that means based on the table, you will be able to explain all the others. Let me write one last answer. Last. Okay, I bring this table to the front. Oi. I bring this table to the front. To test PB, just now the question are lead 2 sulfate here. Okay, I put my table here. So I can refer. In the exam, I write myself, I construct myself, and then I refer. Now the question want to test PB. PB go down to lowest here. Potassium iodide solution. Can you see? There's no the word excess, right? So you can just write add 2 cm cube of potassium iodide solution into a test tube containing lead 2 sulfate. And then my observation, what is my observation? My observation is YP. YP, Y means yellow. Yellow precipitate is formed. That's all. Why I never mentioned the thick and cross is because the last one, no excess. No excess means you doesn't have to mention the thick and cross. But why I still put it into the table? Because there's our shortcut, thick cross, thick cross, thick cross, thick cross. If I want you to remember some special case like, hey, this one do thick cross, that one thick cross, you will be like, I don't know which one has to thick cross. You just thick cross all. As long as you see the word excess, you mention the thick and cross. Okay, if you don't see the thick cross, if you don't see the word excess, then no need to mention thick cross. How to know which level to go? Very easy one, you see. You just go down to the lowest. You see, zinc lowest it can go is until here. Al lowest it can go here. PB lowest can go here. Calcium here. Magnesium here. Okay. Actually, even if you give the first one, also correct one. Even if you give the first one, they also give you correct one. Because like the situation just now, only got zinc. If it only got zinc nitrate, if the questions confirm already it is a zinc, then you can also write the first one. Can one? Because if it is zinc, it will also show this observation. So basically, which one also can? As long as you can give the correct observation, then can already. Usually, they don't ask you question which is too hard. Next time, okay? Can So this anion and cation test. Remember lah, okay? Today is just until here. Any question you can ask me again. If no question, then bye bye. See you next time.